Hey, I'm Isaac, and this is the first devlog for SpellFister. SpellFister is a roguelite fantasy FPS that I have been developing solo over the last couple years through my indie studio, Ikes Games. As I get closer to hosting another playtest, I figured it was finally time to start recording my development process and uploading these devlogs. SpellFister is already pretty far into development, so these devlogs will mostly focus on new features, improvements, reworks, polish, and the day-to-day process of actually integrating things into the game, rather than going super deep into my older systems that are already in place. Today, I want to focus on two aspects of the game. The first one, I want to improve the projectile trail renderer. Second, I want to work on a improved wake up cinematic for the game. Alright, so this was the original projectile in the game. It just used a very simple trail renderer. It was the first time I ever touched trail renderers, and so, for lack of a better word, it's buns. My approach for making the trail look better initially was to add a particle system and use the same effect I have on my fireball spell, which is a simple smoke cloud trail renderer particle effect. I was not a fan how this was looking, so I spent a good amount of time just messing around, as you can see here, with the particle system and just playing around with it. I have a good amount of experience with Unity's particle system, but I wasn't achieving the look I desired, so I realized my efforts were a bit futile and just decided to look through Unity's documentation. So this is what I ended up with, and honestly, I was pretty happy with it, but it still felt like it was missing something. So I added a little ember effect, and this is where it's at now. I'm sure I will be revisiting this, but I'm very happy with the way it turned out. So next up, I had to work on a wake up cinematic. You're a wizard that wakes up in Hell's Coliseum, and your only way of escaping is by fighting your way out. So what's a better way to portray that than a time loop? This is a very early prototype where I used multiple virtual cameras and shifted the weights as you got up and just added a fading effect on the screen for blinking. I wanted it a lot better than that. So the first thing I did was I wanted more control over the camera, so rather than using virtual cameras with weights, I shifted it to an animation approach, which I think looks better. This is a very simple camera, which I still have to update, but I think it works well for now. Next up was this hand animation that I wanted to do. The hand is a central part of SpellFister, and I wanted to convey that through the opening sequence. So I took some photos of my hands while waking up in the morning and used that. Next was eyelids, and at first I opted for a very simple eyelid approach, just literally two black images on UI, which I then will animate, as you'll see. So here's an example of just a simple wake up blinking animation that I made. So the next step after this was changing the black rectangles to be faded on the edges and a little bit curved like eyelids, right? This still wasn't feeling right to me, so I added like a blurry eye effect. Essentially, the background starts blurrier, and as you sit up and get up, your eyes become more clear. I also wanted to just mess around with the timings. I still think they're a bit off, but I need to receive feedback. This is the final product, and I am very happy with it. Thanks for watching the video. I know it was pretty short. I don't really know what I'm doing. This is my first time making a video like this, so bear with me. I know this one didn't have a lot of code either. All the code that I wrote for it was just hooking up the wake up sequence, so I didn't feel like I needed to dive into it. But later on, when I touch more code heavy stuff, I will definitely show off all the code that I write and everything. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I appreciate you for watching. Peace.